What's going on, my camping friends? I'm sure we're all ready to get out there and do some camping. I promise we're going to be out there camping soon. Just everybody keep saying some prayers. All right, in this video I'm going to go over what me and my wife and my family do to get ready for a camping weekend. She does a lot of stuff while I'm at work on Friday, but I'm going to try to go everything. Probably won't be in any particular order. Some stuff I'll do on a Thursday before, and then some stuff I do on a Friday right before I leave. So I'd get a paper and pencil so you can take some notes. And I'm also going to put a whole list on the screen here, probably toward the end of this video, that maybe you can take some notes down on or do a screenshot of it. All right, one of the first things I do on a Thursday night is I'll plug in my camper. Now I have a 30 amp plug that I wired up to my house. You don't need a 30 amp. Just don't turn on your air conditioner. I like to do that and keep it plugged in, and I turn my refrigerator on. That way Friday when my wife is getting everything, the food and everything ready, the fridge will be nice and cold. And on a Thursday night, I like to open up my slide a little bit, because you can't get around in my camper without the slide open. That way my wife doesn't have to mess around with that. Another thing I do is Thursday nights, I like to make sure I have all my chairs in my camper, because sometimes throughout the week we got to go to football games or soccer games, so sometimes our chairs get taken out of our camper to go watch our boys play football or soccer or something like that. These two chairs, if you have a Harbor Freight around you, we bought these at Harbor Freight, and they're real nice. One thing is they're really light. They don't weigh nothing. They're real nice and light. And then we got our two nice comfy chairs. This one, and I have this one here folded up. So it's just me and my wife and my two boys. So don't forget that. Another thing I like to do the day before is take off my wheel covers maybe. Put them in my garage. That way, when I hook my camper up, when I get home from work on a Friday and I'm ready to roll, I don't forget to take these off and tear them to shreds if I start pulling away with them on my camper. Thursday night, I like to also maybe pack up a couple beers for myself and maybe a couple bottles of wine. I might stick in my beer fridge. I call the fridge that I have in here, which I would show you, but whoever parks this camper parks it too close to this big 6x6. But I'm sure you've seen the little fridges they got in there. I call that my beer fridge because I put a mark on the temperature dial that marks where I can set my fridge at the coldest temperature right before these beers start freezing. I don't know about you, but I like having nice cold beer. Not too many, just a couple. Another thing, on a Thursday night, I can pack up my cornhole boards, my homemade cornhole boards. Don't forget your hammer for your little scoreboard. I put a little stake in the ground. I gotta hammer it in so I can put my scoreboard on there. Don't forget these. A lot of fun. Some campfire wood. Don't forget to pack up. Don't forget to pack up some campfire wood if you're gonna have a couple campfires. Just make sure you can bring campfire wood. I don't think we've had any trouble yet going to a campground here in Pennsylvania and bringing our own campfire wood. Sometimes I think there is some out there where you have to go there and buy their campfire wood because they're worried about you bringing in different bugs. So, but don't forget your campfire wood, the newspaper to help start this, and maybe a little hatchet so you can cut up some kindling, unless you get that ready before you go. Don't forget to get your bikes ready. If you're not going anywhere, you can maybe pack these up in your truck too if it's not going to rain. I like to just get them ready, and I leave them in my garage ready to throw in my truck when I get home from work. Don't forget helmets. I think it's any kid under 12 years old needs to wear a helmet, and some of the campgrounds definitely enforce that. So make sure you bring a helmet, and maybe even a lock if you want to feel a little bit safer to lock your bikes up at night. We've never had any trouble yet, but You never know. And then the night before, you could also put your weight distribution hitch on if you want, if you're not driving all over. I don't like to keep this on. For one thing, it sticks out quite a ways and you could smack your shin on it. And another thing is I definitely don't want nobody to steal this. So I usually have this just ready to put on when I get home from work Friday. I also have a video on how I hook up my weight distribution hitch. I'll put a little link to that up here in the corner, and you'll see a link to that at the end of this video also. A couple more things I want to check to make sure I don't forget or I have packed up. My mountain pie makers, just in case I was in my backyard making mountain pies with my boys. My blower, I use that to blow off my awning after camping for the weekend. My drill that I use to put up my stabilizer jacks. And I also take an air compressor. I have airbags on my truck, so sometimes I don't like to drive around with air in my airbags because it makes my truck pretty rough riding. So I take that. Make sure you have full propane tanks before a weekend camping trip. Don't forget to pack fishing tackle and fishing poles. They might have a pond there so you and your little ones could go fishing. I bought these nice little Dock Demons, Zebco Dock Demons. Nice little easy poles to go fishing with. You could take a bigger one if you want, but you could rip in a nice big fish even on these little poles. I'm going to put some of the stuff that I went over today down in the description. If you want to click on that, it'll take you right to it. I also take a couple baseball gloves, baseball, and a little football. All right, thanks for making it this far in my video. If you didn't hit that thumbs up button, please smash that thumbs up button for me. It really helps my videos out. Well, I want to go over a couple more things before you jump in your truck and you start rolling down the road and going right straight to your campsite. A couple things that I like to check in my truck. I'm going to admit I don't do this all the time, but just something for you to think about is to maybe check the air pressure in your tires in your truck and check the air pressure in your tires in your camper. You don't want to be driving, say if you're driving like an hour away somewhere and you blow a tire. It's going to kind of ruin your camping weekend. And it couldn't hurt to check the oil in your truck once in a while. I like to try to do that even if I'm not camping, but all right, so you got your camper all hooked up. You got your lights plugged in. Before you start rolling down the road, you're going to want to get somebody behind your camper and check your turn signals, your brake lights, and maybe even your four-ways if you want. And also, before I roll down the road, I like to let my wife, or if you have an older boy and an older girl, walk around the truck and try to teach them some of the things that you do to your truck before you go camping, like you hook up your chains, you lock your ball on, you have your lights definitely all the way plugged in. And if your lights are not working or your brake lights are not working, first pull your plug out and see how dirty it is. If it's real dirty, clean it out. You can maybe clean it out real good and put some dielectric grease on there. I think I have some right here. Oh, yeah. I'll put some of this down in the description too. But I put this on my plugs. It's for electrical wiring. All right, you got it. You're in your truck. You're ready to roll. You checked all your lights out. You checked your brakes out. Somebody walked around and double checked you. And I live in a development. So one other thing that I like to do, as soon as I start rolling through my development, I like to just actually check my brakes, not my brake lights, but check my brakes on my camper. And if you don't know how to do that, if you have if you have a big camper, you should have a brake controller. I'll show you. Okay, once I get rolling through my development and I'm going, maybe 5-10 miles an hour, if you take every brake controller should have a manual. If you manually push that over, it's going to put the brakes on your camper. Once you do that and you'll feel your truck start to stop, your brakes are definitely working. All right, the list on the side of the screen here. This is my list. I got it right here. You can see it on the screen. We went over chairs, bikes. We did that. We went over the cornhole. I always take a swimming suit and towels because if it's hot, nice and warm out, which hopefully it's going to get warmer here in PA. If you have a dog, don't forget a dog leash and bring a long leash to hook them to a tree by your camping site. Pillows. Don't forget pillows unless you keep pillows in your camper, which I don't. Coffee. That's very important. I always want to make sure I have coffee in my camper. We went over a drill and sockets and a charger, and I went over my air compressor. I don't know if you need an air compressor. Sunglasses. I like to take sunglasses. And sometimes I even try to make sure I have some board games and some movies just in case it rains. Well, that's about it on my list. Put down in the comments if you got a favorite thing that you like to bring camping, like food or anything. Everybody likes to read these comments along with me. Like to read these comments just to get good ideas for camping. So throw something down there in the comments. Help us all out. Don't forget your grill. Well, that's about it. What I do to get ready for a camping weekend. If you think I forgot anything really important, put it down in the comments. Please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. And God bless and happy camping. And I hope to see some of you guys out there. Say hi to me if you see me out there.